Okay, 2024 is in the books, which means it is time to do my annual, at this point it is annual, ranking of every single game I played this past year on a tier list. And what a year 2024 was. I don't know about you guys, but I actually had a pretty good year and I played a decent amount of video games. Honestly, not as many as probably most years, especially not big new releases for a couple of different reasons. For one, I got into kind of collecting retro games and retro consoles and stuff like that, especially in the Game Boy and Pokemon kind of side of things. We'll talk about that later on in the video. Also, I still don't have a PlayStation 5, which, despite the memes, has a lot of games I wish I could play on it, such as Astrobot and Black Myth Wukong, and definitely Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I don't know why, but I actually bought Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I don't even have a PlayStation 5. I also don't know why I did this exact thing twice. And if I can add one more game that's not on PlayStation 5, it's also not on Xbox or Switch, is what I play. It's UFO 50. It's only on PC, which I'm really not a PC gamer at all. I have a Mac, unfortunately, so I don't really play games like this, and this game looks phenomenal. Here's hoping a console experience for UFO 50. I've heard such great things for this game. Comes out in 2025. Let's go ahead and rank what I actually did play this year. Beginning of the year, I got a Nintendo Switch OLED, finally upgrading from my launch day base Nintendo Switch. How that thing was still running, I don't know, but with my Nintendo Switch OLED, I finally decided to go ahead and start a Animal Crossing New Horizons experience from the very beginning. Obviously, I played a ton of this game during lockdown and COVID times, but coming back to this game as a very casual, new, fresh set of eyes, it was really interesting to restart the entire experience from scratch. I really enjoyed the experience a lot. It was really fun, really relaxing, and just really nice to start a brand new world in Animal Crossing New Horizons, because it has been a while since I've kind of tapped into the Animal Crossing side of things. I did discover a couple things I didn't love. Mainly the villagers were a little annoying this time around. They're kind of boring, and a lot of times they're just in the way. You know, I didn't really notice it the first time around, but yeah, these villagers are very, very boring and very dull, and a lot of them say the same thing. It's not very interesting. They also don't really do very interesting things along the way. It's sort of a problem, and I really hope the next Animal Crossing game can improve that, because that is my biggest criticism. Besides that, the day-to-day kind of going around the island, improving your island, working at the shop, doing fun little mini games and side stuff on the island is really fun, and I do adore this game quite a lot. So I am a big fan of Animal Crossing New Horizons. There's just a lot of stuff they can improve upon going into the next game. Balatro is good, and I like it. I don't love it like a lot of people. A lot of people think this is like their game of the year or one of the games they're going to play for forever until the end of time. I enjoyed my little time out of it. It really just does feel like a mobile minigame kind of thing, but not really as an insult. I hope that's not taken as an insult, because I adore this game a lot. It's really fun, really addicting, but I had my time with it, and I'm ready to move on. It didn't hook me the way I think it hooked a lot of other people, but again, I enjoy the game a lot. I feel like Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is the first Call of Duty in a while where the developers really seem like they cared and put a lot of attention into making a good game out of the product. And they had an extra amount of time to work on it, I believe an extra year to make Black Ops 6. And what they cooked up in the kitchen was actually really good and really enjoyable. The game feels fantastic to play. Obviously, they did the whole Omni movement push where they have a lot of different movement mechanics in the game, which I know movement in Call of Duty is a whole thing to really talk about, but it actually feels great to play. Straight up, this game is amazing to play, and it's one of my favorite first-person shooters just to run around and shoot stuff in Call of Duty. Like, it's always a ton of fun. I will say my one big criticism for this overall, especially multiplayer experience, is the maps. The maps are bad. They're like really not good. The set of maps released at launch, and even the newer DLC maps that came out thankfully for free, are not great. Yeah, unfortunately, just not great set of maps on this one. I really kind of missed the 3-lane style map gameplay. This just felt like a jumble of stuff. Like, it was a Warzone section they just took out of Warzone and put it in multiplayer. Not very fun, in my personal opinion. Big shout out, though, to Zombies. Yeah, I have not played Zombies pretty much since Black Ops 3, but I heard it was actually pretty good this year. I jumped in and played with like my friends that I used to play Zombies back in middle school with. And yeah, we played Black Ops 6 Zombies for like hours and hours on ends, looking up random YouTube videos, trying to survive, doing little Easter eggs, whatever we could kind of get done on the maps. There's a lot of care put into Zombies this time around, and this is the best Call of Duty Zombies has been in quite a while. First one that's actually had me hooked, and my friends and I trying to take stabs at it and get it done. So Black Ops 6 Zombies, Black Ops 6 multiplayer, gameplay loop, everything is actually really impressive. And I played a little bit of the campaign. I just don't feel comfortable commenting on it because I didn't play enough of it or finish it to get a big opinion. But overall, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, pretty impressive. I really enjoyed the game and my experience with it. Seeing all the Astrobot hype this year made me really want to try a platform I hadn't played before, so I loaded up Crash Bandicoot The N. Sane Trilogy, because I grew up as a Nintendo guy. I didn't grow up with a PlayStation and PlayStation 2, so I didn't play Crash Bandicoot. My first time playing Crash Bandicoot this year, it was okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be too hard on this game because it is a big nostalgic game for a lot of people. I know it's a soft spot. People adore Crash Bandicoot and this character, and I had fun. Don't get me wrong, I definitely had fun, but I will say for certain, I'm a Mario guy. Yeah, absolutely more of a Mario fan than a Crash fan. So I had a good time with it, but I don't see myself returning to the series from here on out. Oh shit, okay, here we go. Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree is easily my game of the year. If you want to call it game experience, game DLC, game download, whatever you want to call it, for the political correct term, my favorite game experience of 2024, okay? Yeah, this game is big enough to dwarf pretty much most other complete games. It's one of those few releases where I really felt like I was counting down the days until it came out. I didn't realize how much I missed being in the Elden Ring world and exploring until watching those trailers and realizing we're getting brand new From Software bosses and level design and world exploration, and they took everything they learned from the base game of Elden Ring and doubled it into the best map we've ever gone in a From Software game. I seriously mean it. Shadow of the Erdtree is so fun to explore. Every corner has a secret to discover. There's so much fun stuff in the game. Honestly, one of my complaints about the game is that there's just so much stuff, so many different types of weapons, so many different types of armor sets and different kind of builds you can make just for one single playthrough experience. I really wish we had a boss rush mode for a replay kind of thing, just because a lot of these bosses I wanted to fight again. I wanted to explore the areas again and again, but if I did a New Game Plus or something, that's sinking in easily 50 to 100 hours again on this game. I've already spent close to 200, if not more, 200 plus hours in this experience, because I adore Elden Ring, I adore the world so much. Like I said, the moments counting down to this game's release, there was also a moment I had finishing it. Defeating the final boss really did feel like I was putting an end to the entire experience of Elden Ring, and I sat there and I was sad. I didn't realize how much time and how much attention I put towards this one video game release in the past couple years. Both the 2 years ago when the game came out, this DLC, everything was just wrapped up and I was done with the Elden Ring world. It was really exciting, but also really kind of sad. And then they announced, Night Rain, so I'm a little mixed on that. How I'm going to feel about Night Rain, I'm not sure yet, but it's From Software. I'm sure it's going to be fun, and I'm really excited for it. But anyways, back to Elden Ring. My big complaint here is with Radahn. Yes, I'm sorry, but I am a Radahn hater. I do not think this boss was well designed or well made or really well built up in the lore at all. I'm not great at understanding the Elden Ring or Dark Souls lore or anything like that. I won't lie and try to be. It just seemed very odd to me that they picked Radahn of all people to come back, and yeah, I just seemed like they were trying to do a cameo-style endgame moment, like, oh shit, look who it is, it's Radahn. He's back again, and he has the powers of a god. And don't get me wrong, the spectacle of the Radahn fight is phenomenal, but it just felt unfair and not fun. Everything I built up in the base game and the DLC leading to a final moment felt like it didn't matter because the boss was just so overtuned and way too difficult. I did end up beating him probably after 150 or so, maybe close to 200 attempts. Yeah, that's how long it took me. A little bit embarrassing there, but it was satisfying to beat him, but not in the way that most bosses are. Fighting Mesmer was a 10 out of 10 boss fight experience, but fighting Radahn, I was just happy it was done. I wasn't even happy that, like, I beat him or satisfied, like, oh my god, I did it. I was like, oh my god, that was exhausting, and I didn't really enjoy my experience. I had to kind of play with my build a couple times to change just for one boss. So, yeah, a little bit of a critique there, but, overall the experience is still a 10 out of 10. I adore Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree. I also heard that they changed the final boss in the latest patches and whatnot, so maybe when I go back to fight him again, it'll be better. But for now, yeah, that's a bit of a dark spot on the entire experience of Shadow of the Erdtree. But besides that, fantastic, 10 out of 10 game. Alright, I know that we just had a long segment on Shadow of the Erdtree, but I will say that we have another one here with Tears of the Kingdom, because Tears of the Kingdom and Elden Ring are, like, my games. Like, those are the style of games I want to talk about, I want to play. I want to be in the fantasy world setting, open world, feel like I'm living my own unique adventure. These are the games that are made for me, so I'm going to talk a lot about them. But I've probably never been more mixed on a video game experience as I have on Tears of the Kingdom. Part of my playthrough on Tears of the Kingdom, I kind of really didn't enjoy it. I thought this was a very straightforward copy and paste of Breath of the Wild. I thought Nintendo said, you know what, you guys like Breath of the Wild, what if we just do it again and just put the same map in there, a few extra little stuff, and said, go have fun. But then there were moments playing this game where I realized Nintendo knows that we played Breath of the Wild. They know that we explored every single inch of this Hyrule. They're giving us the tools to absolutely break it. The Zonai abilities and machines that we can kind of build let us literally fly from mountain to mountain, to the sky, to the depths, and then back up, ascend back up into the mountains, and then build these machines to slingshot us across the entire lands and put rockets on our shields and fly straight up in the sky. We could do basically anything we wanted in this game. It is more so of an open game than any open world game has ever been. We can literally break this. It felt like we were playing Minecraft with mods. It was actually incredible. And when I came to that realization that Nintendo, again, knows we've explored this game, so they're giving us the tools to break the exploration of the game, was a really great realization to have. Now, for some of the negatives of this, the tools that we have at our disposal means that we're in the menus a lot more. Every time I realized I wanted to get across somewhere in the skies, or, you know, somewhere underground really fast, I realized I'd have to build a new contraption. Of course, we do have the auto build thing, but even I kind of had to build around and be in the menus and kind of build little stuff from here and there. A lot of times building, a lot of time spent in menus, like a lot of times spent in the menus in this game. You know, you go to one area and then you're overheated, so you have to change your piece of armor, and then you're flying through the skies and you have to change your piece of armor to kind of glide better. A lot of times in the menus. It just feels like they could streamline this a little bit easier. And again, I do want to comment on the story. That is one big thing I want to talk about. The story here is genuinely very, very good. I love this world of Hyrule. I love the Breath of the Wild style of this universe of Zelda. It is phenomenal. I love the characters of Link. I adore Zelda as a character. Even a lot of the side characters like Sidon, seeing how his story changed from the first one, evolving into the sequel of the game, where now he has a fiance and he's scared to lose the fiance because of what happened to Mipha in the last game, and then him becoming king is just such a fun little development for a side character that I absolutely adore. And leaving this world of Hyrule, ending Tears of the Kingdom, and realizing we're probably not going to get any DLC or anything else in this universe of Zelda is really sad. Again, it kind of felt like a moment that ended with Elden Ring. All the time I poured into that universe, all the time I poured into this style of Hyrule and Zelda is wrapping up at an end. And it really is very emotional. I adore these characters. I adore this world. One thing I didn't love, though, is how the story was told. Once again, it is told through memories. Like, you felt like the events of the story happened before you, and then now you're going through and getting the memories of Zelda and the teardrops and seeing the story unfold after it's already happened. The same type of storytelling we had in Breath of the Wild. I really wish that the story unfolded the same way it was happening in the actual world. Again, it makes more sense for the story because it is a bit of a time travel-esque story, you know, a very big time travel story here, and it works for me. I think the story is great. It was just the same style of exploration and storytelling that we got in the first one, so it felt a little bit repetitive there. All in all, though, the game is fantastic. Like, genuinely one of the best game experiences I've ever had. There's moments playing this game where I just wanted to keep playing. I wanted to cancel my plans I had for the day, for the weekend, whatever I was doing, and just sit around and explore Hyrule once again. Yeah, I adore this game. I adore the series, and I'm happy with it. Yeah, I was a little bit mixed throughout the experience, but sitting back and looking at the entire thing, I'm very happy with Tears of the Kingdom. I feel like there are certain, you know, real-world IPs outside of video games that fit into different style of video games perfectly. Naruto games, they should be fighting games. Indiana Jones should be an action-adventure game. Marvel characters should be making a hero shooter. It just makes so much sense, and I seriously don't know why it took so long for this concept to be made, but I'm really glad it did, because that meant that this game actually had time to get polish on it. The game looks great. The art style as a whole just plays phenomenally. It works so well for these characters in the style of game. The game plays really great. It's genuinely very fun to play. There are so many heroes that all play very differently, very unique. Some heroes I love, some heroes I really can't stand playing or playing against, but that's the nature of these style of games, and they're all genuinely very different and unique characters to learn and master. They crushed it with this game, and it looks like they're going to support it into the far distant future. I have a lot of excitement for this game, and I enjoy playing with my friends a lot. Very arcadey, very fun. I think Marvel Rivals is a smash hit, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. Speedrunning as a core mechanic is just so simple, but damn do they knock it out of the park with Neon White. This game just evokes so much dopamine in my brain. I do think the game hands out maybe the ace rank a little too easily. I actually thought that that was the highest rank you can get in each course, but I learned there's a super secret one, which kind of makes me want to go back and try to get that super secret rank. yeah, I'm kind of itching to play this game again after I learned that, because I didn't get that super secret rank ever. I got ace pretty much every time I played through a course and said, yeah, that's good enough for me, let's move on. But now I kind of want to go back and try it again, because this game's a lot of fun. It makes me feel like an absolute gaming legend, like an actual badass playing Neon White. I adore it. I will say the writing, the story, the characters is awful. Just absolutely awful. Like, I feel embarrassed telling people I played Neon White. If they saw any footage of this gameplay, story, or characters, or anything like that, I'm probably going to be judged, and I have to close my door. And don't look at my TV right now. I promise I'm not playing Neon White. I can't play that kind of game. It's really, really bad. I'm sorry. The dialogue, everything is just awful. I hate to say it, but yeah, it's really rough. The gameplay, fantastic. The storytelling, everything, the worst I've ever seen it. I'm not going to spend too much time on Persona 3 Reload because I didn't play a lot of it. It's one of those games where I really wish I got to sit there and turn off all my responsibilities for the next month and just play this game, because I can tell the game is the type of game I want to play. It's so stylized, so fun, the characters seem really interesting, the world, the story, everything just seems really well done. This game is universally praised, and I can tell that it is the style of game I would absolutely adore. Even a little bit I played, probably 6 to 8 hours of the game, I could tell I would adore this game, and I actually had to stop because I realized I'm not going to play anything else. I was in the middle of going through Tears of the Kingdom, and I really wanted to finish up that game before starting this one, and just other things came up. So eventually one day I will play Persona 3, I'll play Metaphor ReFantazio, I'll play Persona 5. I might be like 70 and retired by the time I get around to playing these games, but I promise it'll happen, and I really want to check this one out for sure. Maybe I start with this one, who knows, we'll see what happens in 2025. First off, I apologize for this absolutely horrendous recording setup here. I did my best to try to get it all set up and looking nice, but it still doesn't look great. Anyways, I just wanted to show off my complete playthrough of Pokemon Blue here I did. I played a copy of Red and Blue together to complete the Pokedex. And yes, I have all 150 Pokemon captured. I actually have a living dex as well in my box there. And I will definitely do a video documenting and talking about the entire process of the living dex on this game. But I also want to go through and do a living dex of every single Pokemon spread out through every different generation of the entire series. But for now, we'll just talk about Pokemon Red and Blue. These games are actually a lot better than I think people give them credit for. Yeah, they took over the world back in the 90s, but these games actually hold up pretty well. I truly believe if this exact game came out on Steam as like a little indie developed game or something, this would be a really popular little monster collecting series that people would actually, have a little cult following for. I think these games genuinely are still pretty fun. So I got to give a huge shout out to it. I've loved Pokemon forever, and I really enjoyed my experience going back and staying up till like 2 a.m. in the morning running around the Savari Zone just to catch a Scyther and a Tauros or whatever. So great times with these games, and I highly recommend it. Trying to complete the living dex, and if you haven't played Red and Blue, give it a whirl. It's actually a lot better than you guys might think. Okay, and now we have Pokemon Emerald here, and yes, I did the exact same thing as I mentioned a second ago, went through and caught every single Hoenn Pokemon. As you'll notice, there's a few holes here, because these are Pokemon I actually have to catch in Pokemon XD to transfer over, which is a little annoying, but also a really cool excuse to go back and play Pokemon XD. I have all the tough ones, so that's the good thing. But yeah, I went through and did the exact same thing as I did in Kanto, but in Pokemon Emerald. I think I like this experience better. I think Pokemon Emerald is just a better game than Pokemon Red and Blue. The development from Generation 1 to Generation 3 is massive. It doesn't really seem like it, but yeah, there's a huge gap in quality here, and I think Pokemon Emerald as a whole are better game experiences. So yes, I went through and did this, and it was a ton of fun as well. So that's all I got to say about Pokemon Emerald. We know the game, we love the game, so let's move on. And to contrast the Game Boy era of Pokemon, I actually went ahead and loaded up my Switch and played through Pokemon Violet. And yeah, the game's not nearly as good as those games. Like, just straight up, playing them back to back, you can definitely tell. There's some fun charm in Paldea, but a lot of the experience is not the best. Especially just visually and playing through the glitches, the games are a disaster. It's embarrassing to call myself a Pokemon fan and these be the newest products they have put out. I'm really hoping Pokemon Legends ZA picks up the slack, at least a lot, because these games were kind of rough. I did, however, play the DLC, and I actually enjoyed them a lot more than Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Both the Kitakami and Blueberry Academy areas are really much better well designed. Also, the characters, especially Kieran and Carmine, those are two of my absolute favorite new Pokemon characters introduced in a long while. I adore these two characters. I adore the story. This post-game kind of section of the game was really good. I also loved how they respected you as a player throughout the entire experience, even having, competitive 2v2 battles battles take up the entirety of the Blueberry Academy trainer battles. Both of these DLCs actually had a handful of really tough fights that I really enjoyed going through and doing. I enjoyed my time a lot with these games and these DLCs. I think they improved the base game a good amount. I'm a huge fan of Area Zero as a whole. Resident Evil games have been on my backlog literally forever, and I really cannot think of another time I've sat down and played a horror game like this. It was really fun to get the shit scared out of me. Like, it was really cool coming off a late shift at work, turning off all the lights, and loading this game up at like midnight or something. I was scared shitless. The first time Mr. X popped out, I will never forget that encounter. I was actually like sweating and running for my literal life. And Resident Evil is just such a well-made, well-crafted game. It's like, there's so much charm here, and it's really fun, and I adore this series now, and I want to go through and play more Resident Evil games. I have Resident Evil 3 downloaded for a while, so I'll definitely go through and play that one next, because, yeah, I adored Resident Evil 2 a lot. I'm a huge fan of this game, so I think it was really well done, and I enjoy it. Oh my god, if you guys take one thing away from this video, please let it be RoboQuest. Play this game. I am telling you right now, this is such a fun surprise. If you like roguelike games, or if you like first-person shooters, play this. I actually had more fun playing RoboQuest than I did Doom. Yes, I know it's a crazy take, but I really enjoy this game a lot, and I think that's very, very, very overlooked. It has such creative, fun, wacky weapons. You go through a gameplay loop that was very much so in the style of Hades. Obviously, roguelike games, but Hades is one of my favorite games ever, so I just default to thinking of that one. The game is fun, really stylized, really fun, controls very, very well, a lot of different characters you can go through and do different experiences. I miss playing this game. I haven't played it in a while. I played it at the beginning of last year, and looking back on my experiences, I don't know why I stopped. Yeah, I don't really know why I stopped. I actually want to go back and play some more of it. So I'm itching to play some more RoboQuest. This game is a ton of fun, and again, like I said, if you take anything from this video, let it be RoboQuest. Go ahead and check it out. Growing up, I played a lot of Street Fighter, but really only around other people. I would go to my friend's house, play some Street Fighter 4. I played with some of my cousins and uncles, and they'd have the older Street Fighters. I actually went to some random arcades. I'd play, when I was a kid, I think my dad took me to some arcades, and we played like Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 3. But this is the first time I've ever owned Street Fighter 6. Yeah, this was a really cool experience to have, and just to have Street Fighter 6 in the palm of my hands, to be able to go into the training mode and do whatever I want to do to try to figure out the deeper mechanics of the game was really, really fun. And it's just really satisfying to go through, play the arcade, go through online matches and fight players at similar skill levels and continue to learn and evolve my playstyle. It's really satisfying experience, and I think Street Fighter 6 is a great introductionary game to do that for newer players. Like I said, I've played a lot of Street Fighter in the past, but owning a Street Fighter is completely different. Having the unlimited amount of time to discover this game and discover its mechanics and its characters and play against friends across the globe, because, I haven't seen them in a while, but I know they like Street Fighter. It's a lot of fun. Unironically, Mario Party Jamboree might be the game I was most excited about besides Shadow of the Erdtree, and part of me feels like this might be the greatest Mario Party ever. It's not, unfortunately, which is a little disappointing, because they had the potential here to make a fantastic, fantastic experience. I will say confidently it is the best Mario Party game on the Switch, hands down, because the core base game of Mario Party here, the new boards, the new items, the mini games, everything is done very, very well. They did also try to cram a lot of side content here. All the times I played them, I didn't really enjoy them. Maybe I gotta go back and try them a little bit more to get the full experience out of them, because I heard some people say that a few of these side games are really, really fun, but the core base game of Mario Party Jamboree is my favorite. I think it's fun to play with friends. I will dock it a few points here, because I don't like that buddy system mechanic thing where you can, you do like an extended mini game and then someone gets a buddy. It's an interesting twist on the gameplay, but the boards themselves actually stand alone to be pretty interesting regardless of this mechanic, so I don't think the buddy system needed to be forced into this game at all. I'm not a big fan of it, but it's not the worst thing ever, and again, I adore this game. Like I said, best Mario Party on the Switch hands down. I'll definitely play it quite a lot into 2025. The last game I'm going to talk about is another one of those unranked games, unfortunately, because, yeah, I tested the waters, Unicorn Overlord, and got scared of how much I wanted to play this game for my entire life. It's one of those games I could see myself being the only game I play ever. Yeah, the mechanics of this game are right up my alley, and like I mentioned earlier, the aesthetic of a fantasy medieval world is exactly my thing. Like, I love Game of Thrones. I would love this game so much. Even learning the little bit of lore I got, probably only 6 to 8 hours, I think, around the same amount of time I put into Persona 3, I put into Unicorn Overlord. And yeah, I could see this becoming my favorite game like ever, like the game I play, only this game and nothing else. It is so deep and complex, and I could see myself just diving headfirst into all of it that I had to pull out and say, nope, I don't want this to be the only thing I do for the rest of my life. So I gotta stop for now. Maybe one day I'll come back to it and just let it overtake me as a human being. And there we go. That is going to wrap up every single game I played in 2024. Yeah, again, it's not a ton of games, but hopefully I explained myself pretty well at the beginning of the video there. I also had a great year outside of video games. Hopefully you guys did as well. Got a full-time job that I really genuinely enjoy, and probably part of the reason I don't have a lot of time to work on videos or even play a ton of games. And I do apologize for not working on a lot of videos. Part of me did think this year I would stop doing YouTube completely, but then I would work on a video a little bit and remember how much I enjoy it. You know, this channel has always been such a passion project, and it's going to continue to be that in the future because I love making YouTube videos. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know your favorite games of 2024. I adored this year. I adored what I played, so let me know what you guys enjoyed as well in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, and bye-bye.